Hey watercolor wizards, Hajra here. Today I'm going to be swatching my Schmincke metallic and pearlescent watercolors that I just got recently and I'm excited about. And I'm going to recap by saying that in an earlier video I did demo and review Schmincke Aquashine, which is a pearlescent effects medium made by Schmincke for watercolors. The first metallic ones I want to mention that I'm not going to swatch, these are Creacolor Aqua sticks, and they also come in metallic sticks. You can buy a set and it's actually a lot of fun. You can use them thicker like gouache, which is really nice watercolor crayon feel to it. And you can see that I've swatched all of the colors. This inner circle is Creacolor, this outer circle is gelatos, but I gave all of my gelatos away in a giveaway. Okay, so I used this gold watercolor. It comes in a really nice porcelain dish, which I can reuse as a teeny mixing tray after this is all gone. The blue veil, okay, here it is. So this study right here was a nice frame and I used this gold watercolor on it. And that's the only time I used it. And I do think that that makes a really good use for this. So the other metallic paints that I have are these. These are known to be sort of like really good metallic watercolor paints. So this is the brand that I decided to keep, 12 colors. And I really like that it has metallics and also pearlescence and iridescent colors here. This is made by Finetec in Germany. And I will go ahead and swatch these if I get the time. I also have the Finetecs in other larger pan discs, and I'm keeping them in this Schmincke tin because I happen to have it and I prefer to have metal or porcelain when I don't have to keep the plastic. I would have moved these out of here, except for these are like permanent, so you can't actually move these discs out, which I think is kind of annoying. But that's just the way that is, so I have to keep that. These ones that came in the larger one can actually be popped out and moved, so I moved them into here. And this is before Schmincke was making a pearlescent medium or metallic color, so I really felt like the only other brand that I could find that was as good was the Finetec. I have these pans as of yet unused. Hopefully I'll use them today from my Gansai Tombi set of watercolors, and this set I also gave away to a patron, and I only kept the 3 metallic pans. The only other metallic paints that I have are these calligraphy inks by Winsor & Newton. And Schmincke and Finetec also both say that you can use their pans for calligraphy because, you know, it works really nice for that. The difference is that these inks are in some kind of more permanent acrylic medium so that when you use them, they are waterproof. That's nice because they don't flake off the paper. If you want to make any of the other ones waterproof, use a matte medium or a glue to mix into them or over the top of them as a top coat. Okay, so here's my Schmincke watercolor pans, and I have already labeled up this card to do the swatching on. And let me go ahead and open these. So this is Magenta Pearl. And all of these paints are made with mica in them and then 1 pigment. There's only one that's 2 stars. That's this very first one. Everything else is between 3 to 5 in light fastness, which is really good light fastness. And every single one here is semi-opaque and also semi-staining. And it does say on the side here, when you take it off, just what pigment it's using. So this one is Pigment Red 184. So if you are interested in exactly what one pigment they used for these pearlescent colors, you can look on the side. It has the name on the front. It's got the light fastness and the opacity and semi-staining on one side, and then when you turn it over, it tells you what the pigment is. I would also like to mention that this is a special edition. This is limited. They didn't make these before, and I don't know how long they're gonna keep these around, but I managed to see these on sale at Jackson's Art, and I had to get them because Schmincke is my favorite brand, and I'm assuming that if they make pearlescent metallic colors, I might actually use them. That's the first one, and that is Magenta Pearl, and this is Red Pearl. Love how they look like candy, but don't eat these. They're not candy. If you're a child or somebody else prone to eating things that look like candy, then remember that these are not edible. But they're better than candy. They don't make you fat, and you can use them numerous times. That one is Yellow Pearl, and this one is Yellow Light Pearl. This is Green Pearl. Yeah, they're like paint Jolly Ranchers. But you can see how here the pouring effect that's dried proves how these are all wet poured. These are the same formula as the tubes, which no other brand does. Every other brand has like dry watercolor sticks that are extruded and they cut them into pieces and push them into pans and sell them. So the formula in the pans is harder than the formula in the tubes. Schmincke is the only one that doesn't do that. This is Green Pearl Bluish. And so these are all pearlescent colors, which means that they're just gonna have mica and the 1 pigment like I was saying before. Cyan Blue Pearl, and this one is Blue Pearl. So you've got a warm and cool as each of the primaries. So you've got your cool and warm red, your warm and cool yellow, your warm and cool green, and your Cool and Warm Blue. And this one is Pearl Violet. And this is the last of the spectral colors. And boy, that looks so cute and delicious. Okay, so now these are the earth colors, and they were nice enough to include 3 earth colors. They've got an ochre pearl, a brown pearl reddish, and a black pearl. And I would probably use these all on their own and not mix them with my regular paints now, which is one of the reasons I got this set. So this is nice because it comes with warms and cools and earth tones. Anytime you want to use something like this, you're going to mix it with your regular paints, but you do want to have it out on a palette and not ever add this to your pans, because the last thing you want to do is contaminate your pans and make them like permanently mica pearlescent. The best way to use this is just as a top coat on its own, and then it'll make anything pearlescent versus you mixing it into your regular paints. This is rose gold, and now these ones on the sides, they don't have any pigments in them. These are all purely micas to be creating the metallics, and you can see the difference. You can see that this looks much more metallic, but these are pearlescents and these are metallics, this last row. And this is red gold, yellow gold, and these are only available in the half pans in this limited edition set. Antique gold, this is light gold, and this is white gold. The white gold might even be like silver. Okay, so I'm gonna actually go and get my gold and silver Schmincke paints that I had from before. Okay, so those are from several years ago, but I never used them because I have a bad habit of saving things, and now I shouldn't figure out some way to fit this in here. My watercolor brother, Steve Mitchell, to help me figure out how to fit this, because remember he did like some kind of Tetris magic on one of his mini palettes. Okay, I think I did well enough. Okay, so that's done. Now I can swatch stuff. This right here, and then I'm gonna swatch these on black. It has some chocolate. Always good to have chocolate if you have paints around that look like candy. That way you don't feel deprived. So I've put aside these 2 brushes for my metallic painting. I wouldn't share brushes or water cups with metallic paint so that my regular old expensive paints don't have mica contamination. It wets immediately, which is lovely. And what I really like about this is because it actually has a pigment in it. You can paint with it like actual watercolor, and it's really rather saturated. If you look at it, if you want something that has like a yummy impressionist candy feel to it, I think this is a great set to have for that. So I can see that this has a very nice alizarin crimson or a permanent rose color to it. This is lovely, it wets immediately. This is the red pearl. It's got a nice vermilion color to it. Pigment they used is like a scarlet red or the vermilion. Really nice. What I really love about the Sennelier and the Schmincke colors is you just have to touch the pan the teeniest amount and it just floods the color everywhere. Now this is the yellow pearl. Very nice yellow. It looks like a aureolin. Really love how vibrant these colors are. Now you can just have your metallic paints completely separate. Here's a yellow light pearl, and it looks more like a lemon yellow. All of these colors have the mica along with a single pigment to make these beautiful colors here. So here's the green pearl. The pigment part of it is a part that's going to stain. The mica part of it is going to be the part that's making it opaque, semi-opaque, and also that it's going to make it lift more. It's the green pearl bluish, and this is a nice viridian or phthalo green looking color. So if they're calling it cyan, it's cotton candy, lovely high key color scheme feel to it. And I really like this color scheme, especially for the holidays. This one is just blue pearl. This one looks more like an indanthrone. This one looks more like a Maxwell Parish blue sky. It's like a dioxazine purple. And that's a really nice, clean, true violet. And the great thing about it is that it's very vibrant and it's also not muddy. So you can make it go cooler or warmer by adding a blue or a red to it. And it's just a very clean, beautiful purple. Okay, so now I'm going to do the 3 earth colors, and then the remaining 6 will be the pure metallics, the ochre. And just like with all of your other pan paints, make sure you let these dry out before you close them. Leave the lid open and let it dry out. This one is called Brown Pearl Reddish, and it's more like a transparent brown type color, which is, again, great. The more transparent you have here, especially because we already have the mica, the cleaner your mixes are going to be. And this looks like this is actually a really great independent set. If you're really in love with making everything metallic, then this would do it automatically. And here's the black pearl. The cheaper mica colors that you can buy from various brands, they tend to go into looking just mica-ish and metallic without having much of a pigment load. And so I really like that there's a nice pigment load here. Rose gold I'll do next. And this is the color where the name disappoints me. I do wish that this was an actual rose gold and not just a bronzy color. Why not just call it bronze gold? There should have been an actual reddish rose gold. Now, if you want to sort of make that in this set, take this gold and add a little bit of the red pearl to it if you want to make it into a rosier hue. And I find this to be semi-opaque too. You can sort of glaze it and it goes more transparent. This is definitely more metallic than the other ones because the other ones are pearly and these ones are actually metallic, so the mica content is higher. I think they use mica and not metals because if you expose metals to certain glues and binders, they change color and they oxidize and look awful. This has happened to me before. So it's actually nice that they're using mica in this because it means that it doesn't matter if you use acrylic or something else, it's not gonna change the color of that. Next one is red gold. And again, despite this being called red gold, I know what they were going for. They were just trying to say that it's warmer than the other ones, but they could have one of these be a warm gold and then the other one should actually have had a real red tint to it to make it look more red and coppery. And that's probably my only so far issue with this set, is I would say that it's missing that. And actually I would say one more thing, which is an iridescent one and not just a silver one, like one that has a multicolor reflection. Come to the yellow gold. I like the yellow gold more because I think the other ones are almost bronzy, so I actually really like the formula that they used for the actual yellow gold. It's really quite strong, it's beautiful. And this one is an antique gold. I like this antique gold a lot too. It's got a lovely sort of delicate vintage look to it. A lot of gum arabic in these, that's making these wet really well. It does mean that they're going to be less opaque than the kind of paints that have a less oxgall and gum arabic in them, because this is Schmincke. So you'd probably have to come back with a second layer to make it fully opaque. And that's actually a good thing, in my opinion, because I prefer the rewettability and the good formula for the paint in the pan, so it's not like some really hard cake that you can't really get to. This is light gold. Okay, and the last one is white gold, and that's this one. So that's the white gold, and I believe that the other one I have is silver. So this is just like the silver I bought. So this white gold is the same color as the silver. So if you have a silver pan, it'll be the exact same color, literally, because I just put it right next to it and it looks exactly the same. And again, that's the gold pan that they sell. Yeah, that is that same color. So it looks just like the antique gold. Those are the only two colors in the past that they ever offered in metallic before, were just the silver and the gold. And it looks like in the new set, those are the white gold and the antique gold, in case you wanted to know. You can see the metallics on the last 6 are quite vibrant and heavy, and another pass of that would make that really opaque. It's already drying darker because as the water evaporates, you can see more of the metallics. And for all the other colors, you can see a great pearly shimmer. It's just like a white pearly shimmer on it, just like from the Aqua Shine. It's hard to tell with the camera, but it's there. It's a little silvery pearly glimmer to it. Okay, so that's that. That was a lot of fun. I'm gonna swatch these same colors onto black paper to see if they can show up differently, because they typically do. Magenta Pearl. And it looks like there is enough mica content for this to show up rather brightly on here. So far I have magenta pearl, red pearl, and yellow pearl. Yellow light pearl, green pearl. So it's magenta pearl, red pearl, yellow light pearl, green pearl bluish, cyan blue pearl, and this is just blue pearl. Oh, this is a lovely blue. That was the violet pearl, this is the ochre pearl. And again, because I'd already wet these earlier, the pans are even more moist and ready to go, so be careful how you dip into them. Somebody was asking me, how do you make sure not to get too much paint from your pan? Well, when you're swatching, it doesn't matter, you can get a dark swatch, but when you're doing your regular painting, you want to take your paint from your pan. Your nice expensive pans will release a huge amount of color, and then you want to put it into your palette area first, whether it's here on a separate palette, and then dilute from there and then paint. You don't want to bring it straight to your painting. And it's just like with a tube, you know, you don't go straight from the tube to your painting. You put the tube paint on a palette and dilute it as needed. So it's actually pretty much the same thing with a pan that's a high quality artist pan, is you are going to have to stop over someplace and not go directly to your paper. That's black pearl, and understandably, that's the one that's not showing up. And now I'm going to go to the golds, rose gold. If you are displaying it, you can do it on whatever you want because these are really nice paints. They're artist quality paints. Okay, rose gold, red gold, yellow gold. Or if you're selling it. If you're selling it, then you can definitely use these too. The only thing to keep in mind is that metallics do not scan well. You have to be okay with whatever piece you're painting not scanning as well as it would if it was regular watercolor. Now I'm on to antique gold. Light gold, like an almond pearl color. It's really, very, very pretty. And the last one is the silver that they've called white gold. And again, you do another pass of that and it'll become fully opaque. It's already semi-opaque, and I think it's very pretty even as is, but you can see just how metallic they are now. On this paper, the hue identity is much more readily apparent. And on the black paper, the metallic qualities and pearlescent qualities are much more readily apparent. So choose your paper according to what your need is. What I really like about these is that unlike a lot of other pearlescent paints, they're actually rather bright on white paper too, which doesn't usually happen. Metallic paints are usually just brighter on the black paper. This is the Gansai Tombi. I'll put it up there. So you can see it beating up on the paper. Whereas you saw with the Schmincke, there was no rolling back and beating. Still very metallic. Now the Gansai Tombis use a different binder too. They've got like a horse gum glue binder in comparison to the gum Arabic. So harder to wet and more likely to beat up. And let's compare that with the Finetec. This first one is the Tibetan Gold. Very lovely, rich gold here. I love the little ridges that they put on the pans here too. I would say that this is probably just a little bit more paint than the half pans, but probably not that much more actually because the half pans are quite deep. Inca Gold, Arabic Gold. I agree with that name. That's a good name for this one. One over is Gold Pearl. Now all of these pans so far have been harder to wet and get paint from than the Schmincke ones, but the metallic quality of the actual paint, like the density, it's very good. And I do think that the Finetec are better than the Gansai Tombi. The Gansai Tombi are a little bit duller. I like that moon gold. So if you look at these colors, these 6 Finetec colors, which can be bought separately, this set of gold colors and Schmincke, which can also be bought separately, are almost the exact same colors, so I'm pretty sure Schmincke probably referenced them. It seems like it takes longer to pick up. Okay, so this is an Atlas Red. Not a huge factor because the opacity of the metallic is still very strong. I'm gonna put the metallic Indian Red next, even though it's actually on the second row, just because it's so similar. I wanna see what the difference is. Almost no difference. Okay, so here's bronze. And frankly, if you wanted to have pearlescent colors, I've said this before, you actually don't need to buy pearlescent colors, whether they're from Finetec, from Schmincke. You can just buy this medium and add it to any of your spectral colors, any color that you have, as long as you put it on a palette. And like I said, don't contaminate your tube or pan. But you can make any color pearlescent. So all of these top pearlescent colors, you could just make them gold, silver, bronzes, those kinds of metallics. You can't make those. Those are the ones that are sort of like, you know, the indispensable ones to get. And you can get the metallic set separate for Finetec and also for Schmincke. Schmincke will sell the 6 various golds and silvers separately. So this is silver pearl. And this is bronze satin. Wow, that color's a lot darker than it looks in the pan. And that is diamond yellow. And this one is pure mother of pearl, bronze original. Here's a shining pink. This is so weird. This is like milky and it comes down here and it's like weird color magic. Shining Seta, and it's got a little bit of a green tint to it. Shining aquamarine. The only ones I've got left is Regal Bronze. I know there's people who like to do a whole piece on metallics and stuff, but for me, I like to do it as an accent or a background. I think with those pearlescent colors from Schmincke, I might do a whole piece on white paper. And here's a mother of pearl pink. So this is nice because it's got some cooler colors there. These ones are similar to some of the pearlescent ones that are being offered here. I think these are more vibrant, not because of the pigment load, but because there's obviously a white added to it. So if you want to make the pigment identity or the hue identity of these perk up, on black paper, because obviously they're doing great on white paper. But if you want to make them perk up on the black paper, then add a little bit of gouache, just a tiny tad of it to any of these colors, and I think they will pick up more on the black paper. And that's why they're cheaper too, because adding more white to this is making it cheaper than adding more of a pigment load. Do these on white paper so I can compare how they match up to the Schmincke on white. And on white paper it doesn't show up. So I'm getting the shining pink and putting it here, and over here it looks like this, and over here it looks like this, whereas it doesn't show up almost at all. In this case, because this actually has a lot of pigment in it, real pigment, go to your white paper, it works so that there are such bright colors instead of it being invisible. And this one is showing up as a nice green on the black paper, and over here it's going to be almost invisible. Here's the shining aquamarine, and on here again there's a lot of white, probably paint content, and the exact same thing is going to happen with the mother of pearl pink. Those are the pearlescents that aren't working. The metallic Indian red here, I'm pretty sure it'll just show up. Anything that's a gold, silver, bronze will show up pretty well on light or dark paper. Anything that's a pearlescent color, looks like Schmincke is definitely ahead there, because the Finetec shows up on black paper but not on the white paper. So I'm actually really happy with the Schmincke set. I like the fact that it shows up on light paper and also on dark paper. I am happy with the quality of the golds and silvers. They're pretty much exactly the same 6 golds and bronzes and silvers that you'd get in the Finetec set, is the same ones that are being offered in the Schmincke set. Looks like they did a pretty good job of matching those. And I also have the PRODUCT+ Aqua sticks, don't forget, and they also show up on dark or light paper really well. And well, now I've got all sorts of colors to use on backgrounds and as accents. And again, if you want to make them waterproof, then use a top coat of an acrylic matte medium or a watercolor ground. You can even mix it in there if you wanted to, just make sure you don't contaminate your pans and such. But this has been a lot of fun and very relaxing. I'm glad that I had the right hunch about Schmincke. Thanks for parking your brushes here. Please like, comment, subscribe, check out my website and links below to support my art and art channel. Until next time, wishing you all metallic painting adventures.